Hello again. This is Culture Train on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring the diaspora and Nigerians and African diaspora up to speed. And we're reaching you live from the Culture Town, which is Lagos. And my guest today is someone I've been meaning to drag into something like this, to debrief him. Why does he do all the sort of thing that he does? Why does he keep doing this? Why does he insist on doing what he's doing? And I'm happy that Stanley is here with me today on Spirit of Nigeria Radio on Culture Trade. Stanley, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
You know, I know what it takes to drag you out of your session because you for a week now you've been hosting the Real Time International Film Festival.
Yes, sir.
And this afternoon you are still engaged up to about 5 o'clock, and yet you're able to run down to the studio. But let me first of all tell our listening public, we broadcast to the diaspora, so they may not know what has been happening. You know, we are having local government election today, and we decided to shut down the entire state to the point that no car, Uber, Bolt, InDrive, nobody wanted to be on the road today because they thought that they were going to be ambushed or harassed by policemen. I mean, how do you run a nation like this? I just don't know. I'm asking a simple question. How do you run a nation like this? But I guess that we just have to keep on at it, and so that we don't. It doesn't look like we're bad mouthing our nation, because I know that those of you who are listening to us from outside, we're trying to encourage you. That's why we do programs like this, to encourage you to come and invest in the country, to come back. The teaming listeners of Spirit of Nigeria Radio. But this is what just happened today, that we had this election and Lagos State was shut down, and then nobody could walk. Cars could not move. We couldn't get to even the engineer could not get to the studio on time. He had to hop from bike to bike and go. So we started this program on Zoom, which edition we should have taken earlier, but which we eventually got to. And I'm happy. Stanley, thank you very much for reminding me that we could have gone on Zoom to do this. So Stanley Oyikware is here. Stanley, congrats on what you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
For 1 week now, you've been running this program. I've asked you this question on Zoom. I just wanted to quickly capture that. You've been running this program on Zoom, in spite of the challenges that we had. I know what you went through last year.
Yeah.
There are so many festivals were canceled last year, but you insisted on going on. And then this one, you still went on since that Tuesday up to now. I'm just trying to imagine the kind of energy, the resources that you have that to insist on it.
Maybe energy, but the
resources. So, okay, let's start with what is happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
Today was a fully loaded day. In fact, we will review on that. But let's review. Let's preview what is going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is the closing day.
Yeah,
so what will happen tomorrow? So that we throw that out there to our listeners.
Okay, so tomorrow is the closing ceremony at the Real Time International Film Festival, and ordinarily at other festivals, that's when they schedule to show one very big film from outside the country and gather the whole crowd to come and see it. But for us, from inception, we realized that there was something we started called the Real Time Filmmaking Challenge. So it's like a 20-hour filmmaking challenge where young filmmakers, even established filmmakers, can come and they're challenging themselves to be able to make a movie in 20 hours. And the goal is to just foster collaboration and friendliness amongst people on set. And a lot of people have gone ahead to form production teams and businesses, like business associates from just those experiences. And so at the closing ceremony, we only show films that were made during the festival. So whereas in other festivals, you only come to watch movies, but at RTF, we also make movies during the festival. So tomorrow we'll be showing all the films that were successfully completed in 20 hours by those who took on the challenge. And we'll be having the award ceremony. And we've also created a slot for a couple of young producers and filmmakers who have come up with innovative ideas. There's a guy called Trooks. He runs a company called Film Anatomy. And what they do is that they create equipment, production equipment. So the kind of equipment that you naturally need to go and buy from outside the country or the ones that are imported, he can actually fabricate them. So we'll be giving him like some time at the closing ceremony to talk about his trade. And then there are some other young folks. I think one of them is Chioma Paul Dike, who started something about locations and location recce and all of that. So what they do is that they help people to secure locations for their shoots. So we talked about these guys and we mentioned them to our guests on Thursday at Alliance Francais, since we had a full house of people from different countries representing different high commissions, and they were talking about how they would like to invest. And we told them, no, it's one of the ways you can invest is to support these guys who are doing innovative things and not necessarily waiting for the government to give them jobs. You understand? Okay. So tomorrow we'll give the chance for those guys to talk about what they do. Then we show the movies, and then we'll have the presentation of awards to those who are deserving, both locally and local filmmakers and foreign filmmakers. And that's basically the lineup for tomorrow. And then we'll call it a wrap for this year.
For this year.
Yeah.
So you can drink some water after that. Well, let me welcome some of our guests who are joining us. I'm sorry we started late. So some of you have been in and then we have to leave. Omalade Dalmas, you're welcome. And Samuel Osaze. Please, if you need to ask questions, just let me know and I will make sure that you are able to ask. If you can show your video, I'll make sure that you show that your picture is there, but we can only see you frozen there. Hello, Samuel.
Samuel Osaze.
Osaze, yes. Hello, Samuel.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Yes, sir.
Okay. Who is that? Is that Samuel?
Yes, Samuel Osaze, please.
Oh, okay. Do you have
Yes,
questions
sir.
you want to fire to?
Not yet, but because in the course of the conversation now, I'll send you my questions, sir.
Oh, okay. Right. So we go on. Just know that you can participate. But that's why we make it a Zoom because Fantastic. Of the traffic situation in Lagos today. All of us could not get to the studio. In fact, the guests got to the studio before us, before the engineer and the presenter. Hey, thank you, Omalade. Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Well, do you have anything you want to ask Stanley now before we get into the groove of today's program, which is Art for Social and Human Regeneration, which is what I think he does. Go ahead, Omalade.
I will ask later. I just joined the group.
Just joined. Oh, okay. Okay, so Stanley.
Yeah.
Stanley.
Yes,
Stanley. How many times have I called you?
3 times, Ross.
I've never seen you ask anybody for money. And you keep on doing this every year. And I'm wondering, how does he do it? Is there some spirit that I'll tell you why I'm asking that. I knew when you did the film, the one about the bishop in the Hausa Trail. And when you pyramid it, and then you showed quite a lot of short film that you also did. You alone, you showed over 10 at the festival, where there was 2018 or so. So and I was wondering, where does he get money from? Are you a friend of that man who just buried his mom?
I wish you.
I want to give them a lot of money.
I wish you. Maybe I forgot how much by now.
I'm told I gives entertainment people and people who are in the creative industry a lot of money.
I'm not actually.
So I'm asking you a journalist question now. So how do you do it? How do you get your funding? Let me welcome my friend, my co-host most of the time, Dr. Shola Adeyemi, all the way from Goldsmith College in London. Shola, welcome, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Welcome, sir. You're back here. He was the one who first introduced this program to Zoom when we did something for Shofison. He insisted that we should do Zoom. We did a panel here. And then we did one for showing too. So we should have turned this to that. So Dr. Adeyemi to have a question to ask you. I'm just asking him how he does it. You want to say something, Shola?
Well, not yet.
Okay.
But I do have a question.
Oh, okay. I was asking him how he does it, that I've never seen him ask anybody for money. Yet he does this program every year and some other things, including his own film that he produces. So
well,
I was asking him if he's a friend to...
of light, anyway.
Okay, evangelist of light and images. So I asked him if he's a friend of that guy.
Blessing over him. Yeah.
Okay. Evangelist don't need money. I was asking him and he has not answered. I said, is he a friend of that man who just buried his mom? Where they were marching on Naira.
I wish you.
Maybe you go behind him or behind us and get some things from him. So I'm told I
try and get this content.
Well, maybe because Obi rhymes with Stanley. So
Oh,
Link.
I did not. You didn't mention Obi. You had not mention Obi now. You said that man we just buried this month. So many people just buried their mom. Okay. So Stanley, how do you do it? I mean, what's the support base for your festival? Because I'm sure those are the kind of questions that will come from.
Support base for the festival, actually. Every year, like the festival is ending now. I have to start putting, even though I can't put too much aside every month or anything, but I have to start putting something aside for next year.
Okay.
That's what I've been doing. So just put a little thing aside to know that when the festival is about to start, we won't start running from pillar to pole. But still, every year when the festival is about to start, because it's like when you make a movie and you're doing a lot of visual effects and everything. So you're just telling your story. You're not thinking about, oh, how are we going to achieve this? Which is the way I like to tell stories, you understand? Because if you tell the story based on the finances you have, you tell a retarded story, like there'll be a lot of restraints and restrictions. So we just plan. And my role in the festival, even though I'm the founder, but my role is that I'm the artistic director. So the feel and the whole ambience you get when you get to the festival is mine to curate. So every year we sit down and I ask myself, what's a new thing we can introduce this year?
Okay.
With on top of the ones we've been doing that will make people feel more elated about the festival. Because always there has to be something unexpected, something like a shock factor that will get people like, you know what, we weren't expecting this,
Yes.
And every time we think that way, it always involves more money. So like the money we spent having this at the Africa Shrine, the opening ceremony at the Africa Shrine, was enough to manage to finish the entire festival this year.
In fact, we need to revisit that. I think for those who are just joining us on Culture Trade, even those listening off Zoom, the opening ceremony of this festival happened at the African Shrine. And if you know the new African Shrine, it's basically for music. That's Femi Anikulapo, which is base for performance. And Stanley decided to take the opening there. And since then, the festival had never run. And he had mentioned almost about, maybe we should all revisit that. All the countries that participated. Number one, why the African Shrine?
Why the African Shrine? Because that's one of the biggest tourist attractions in this part of Nigeria.
That's coming from you.
Yeah,
because we don't even acknowledge it as such.
No, because like I was in France last month and every time I mentioned Africa Shrine, like I tell people we're having an opening ceremony at the Africa Shrine, like, oh yeah, I love that place. Macron was there.
Wow.
Okay. So Macron came to town. He didn't go to one big hotel, he went to Shrine.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua came to town.
That was
he didn't go to one fancy place, he went to the Shrine. So it tells you that there's something there that makes people feel connected.
Okay.
To their heritage. So again, as a festival, beyond the fact that we believe that we're a technology-driven festival, but again, we're a festival that promotes culture and the arts. You understand? And so it's not just a film festival alone. And I know when we had our first edition in 2016, we had something at the Shrine. I had just made a movie then.
Yeah.
That Behind the Wheels, where I set that guy on fire.
Yes.
And then people were dying to see the film. And I was like, okay, so where do we show this film that will have the same impact? So we said Shrine. And that was our first year. So imagine how much we spent even the first year.
Was that the film that starred Patrick Joy?
Yeah, Patrick Joy.
That was when somebody attacked him. He didn't tell you. I was attacked because of that film.
Are you serious?
He wasn't showing enough emotion to the people who were involved. They didn't know that the whole thing was Okonlawon.
Oh, yeah.
His name was Okonlawon. Deyemi Okonlawon.
The guy who got burned. No, that's Aniyoho.
Yeah. That they didn't show enough empathy to.
Yeah, but people didn't know it was a stunt. They thought maybe we killed somebody. They were waiting for the bad news.
Anyway, we still revisit the festival.
So we had that there that year, and the complication of having a film festival at the Shrine is that it's not wired, it's not rigged for film.
Okay.
So if you want to show a film there, you have to get like maybe a 16 by 12 feet LED screen setup. Which on its own is a lot of hundreds of thousands of naira to put there. And then you have to plug into the sound of the Shrine. And then you have to sort something for the venue, even though I got a lot of, like this year, I got a lot of goodwill from Auntie YK, and we didn't pay the kind of money that any other person would come to pay, but of course we still had to part with some money, but it's just that because it's not rigged, if we went to a cinema, everything is set up. You just sit down and play the film. But there it's a different ball game. And it comes with a different set of rules because the manager there, whose name is Sunday, has to always, like in 2016 when we had it there, you had to come up with a new rule. You know what? Everybody here, if you want to smoke, go to the upper level.
Oh yeah, because you have to change their own tradition
and all that. So because there are fans there, so the fans will blow everything away, and those of us downstairs couldn't smell anything. You know what I'm trying to say? And my wife self came to the shrine with my children. You know, if I had mentioned shrines, my wife should be like, no, that place, but come on, my pastor came to shrine. You know, even this year, my pastor went to the shrine too, and he was taking pictures at the shrine. I hope the members should ask him on Sunday, say, Pastor,
but what was the general response?
No, it's pure. Every time we go to the shrine, this is the second time now, the response has always been beautiful.
Okay.
And you know, if you look at the pictures from the opening ceremony, even on the ivy, we said, don't come dressing fine. If you dress too fine, we'll chase you away.
Okay.
And the reason behind that is the fact that this is what we say at the festival. We say we want to democratize film. I want to be the festival where everybody feels equal. Okay. So if we are going to the shrine, that means we expect the people around there to be able to walk into our event and be part of what's going on.
Yeah.
So I was there that day with my sleeveless black top and one trouser, and these my trainers, and everybody just looked simple, as if we were just coming out from our houses to, because that was the dress code.
So there was no direct. But
no,
you mentioned
we did red carpet. Yeah, we did red carpet. But
how do you do red carpet in Tata?
that's what it means now. As we take come. So on the ivy we said dress code, come as you did.
Okay,
so that's what we did.
Yeah, come as you did. That was
so even there we had representatives from France. We had the PR officer from the American embassy. He was there, and you know, because the truth about it is that once you say shrine, a lot of people are interested. Yeah, you know, but we brought everything down. So if you look at the pictures from Tuesday at the shrine and the pictures from Thursday at Alliance Française, you see the difference. Alliance Française, we dressed like we were going to Alliance Française. That's true. On Tuesday, we dressed like we were going to the shrine. So everywhere we go to, we make sure we are not so far-fetched from the expectations and the lifestyles of the people there.
So the optics are properly.
Yes, everybody feels welcome. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to go into the other section. I would like Dr. Adeyemi to ask his question now on culture trade.
Even though I managed not to answer your question still.
Oh, yeah, we don't. No, we get back
yes,
to
I hope you will answer my question, Stanley.
Go ahead.
And my question is actually quite simple, because this is the first, this is the 6th year of this festival, but this is the first time you've tagged it hybrid. What have you noticed? How has it worked out? How has it panned out? You know, in terms of reception, in terms of audience, in terms of the challenges that you got. So you see, my question is quite simple.
Yeah, it's quite simple, but we require a complicated answer. Well, but it's nice because every new personally, I don't run away from new experiences. I don't shy away from challenges. I don't decide to do things because I have all the money to do it. I decide to do things because I feel this is what I should do. And I have this belief, and it has always worked for me throughout my life, that as long as I believe I want to do something and I'm working towards it, the closer I get to that goal, the more everything is going to fall in place for me to get it done. And I'll tell you how far I've taken that risk. I don't think I've said this in public before. When I made that movie, The Hausa Trails, I only had like a quarter of my budget to make the entire film when I went on set. So I've been trying to save to make the movie for 2 years, and my wife was aware of it. And the budget was like 75 million naira. And then I paid the Hollywood actor to come and everything. And then one day I was just sitting and reading the book of the man, and I saw everything. And I said, how can I be making a movie about a man who lived by faith and I'm not exercising the same faith? So I called the guy from there. I said, we are making the movie in July. He said, everything's ready? I said, yeah, everything's ready. I'll fly you down. We'll go to Benin. We'll shoot. I spoke his American phone for him. And so the guy showed up and we went to Benin, and I had only enough money to shoot for 1 week out of 4 weeks. But as we were shooting, as we were filming, every time it got to the point where there was still no more money, I would just pause and I think, and an idea will come, I will make a call. And that's how we survived on that. So, like I said, it's not what everybody can do, it's just the way I've been doing things. So the festival is even very small compared to that kind of risk, because imagine if you set had just shut down and there was no money to continue. You understand what I'm trying? So for the festival, we plan and we do not allow ourselves to think about where the money will come from when we go ahead to do it. Okay. So we just plan and we are working. And because it's a festival for filmmakers and by filmmakers, we know that we are not paying extra hands to set things up for coverage, to do all the technicals. We run the festival as if it's a film set. You understand?
Yes.
So now when we are moving from a physical edition to a hybrid edition, it even makes the work easier for us, because what happens is that, for instance, like we had a physical event on Thursday. Friday was online. The only thing I need to do that Friday is make sure the flow online is very good. The movies are showing, they have their protection, so nobody can download them. We are there for the Q&A sessions with all the filmmakers when it's time for the Q&A sessions, and for the advantage and master classes, that everything is just streaming live and right. You get what I'm trying to say? But that takes away the whole physical hassle of running around, setting up a venue, putting banners, doing all those things. So it's actually easier when you do hybrid. So in this case, we've done 3 days hybrid, 3 days virtual, 3 days live, and it's been easier than having a normal 7 days of full live events and all that. Which
but
is
then
really
you missed that huge crowd. I remember what the festival
the
was.
crowd is always massive. I think for me, it's the only thing that is regrettable, but we cannot do anything about it because of COVID.
Okay.
So we had Alliance Française to use, but we could not accommodate more than 50 people in there.
Inside the
Can you imagine?
Okay.
So normally we do, in one season of our festival, from all the registrations and participation, both locally, internationally, online, we do averagely between 6,000 to 10,000 participants. You understand? This year we've done maybe like 3,000 so far, and festival is ending tomorrow. It's not as if it's bad. There are people who don't even do 3,000, but I'm just saying, like, attendance, because people cannot gather physically.
Yeah.
And then when we had the online version last year, it was in the middle of the lockdown, and people were not doing anything else. So that was the only valuable thing anybody was doing in the whole of Nigeria.
Wow.
Even channels had to come and interview me. I was like, how you tell you? And that one last year, we had over 500,000 people following the festival at every point in time. We can never hit those numbers again.
That's good.
Never.
That's good.
So there's really no point trying to say, okay, let's go and do only virtual anymore. Because the virtual experience will only diminish more and more and more. And if we fall into that trap of allowing it diminish, when we try to introduce it as part of our curating for our festival, people will not appreciate it anymore.
Yeah, and that's actually quite good, Stanley, and congratulations on that. When I first saw the program, I thought it's no longer a real-time international festival. It's now more of an Iranian festival because you have so many Iranian films. What's the connection?
Okay, the Iranian stuff, we had a slot for I think in the whole of Iran, I think we have to be the festival that everybody in Iran knows about, because from the onset, one thing we tried to do from the beginning. So when we thought about the festival, the first thing we did was to come up with a Bible, like a 60-page document that spells out how we're going to operate, the kind of behavior we have, how we're going to treat people who come to the festival, we're going to treat ourselves, our goals, our objectives. Part of those objectives was like, you know what, we will not ask for help till after our 6th edition. So people realize that, look, we've been doing this, and it's not because we're calling it a partner now that we'll be able to do it. So it wasn't a festival built on having too much money. It was a festival built on having so much ideas and so much ideas and the manpower to execute those ideas. Very keen people who are really excited about the festival to execute it. So at the end of the day, when we did that, we realized that people don't usually submit their films to festivals from Iran because of the sanctions.
Yes.
Yeah. So based on my research, I realized that Iranians don't really have a lot of places where they premiere their films because of sanctions, except those who live and work outside of Iran. And so we said, you know what, for movies from Iran, even for the competitive categories where we put a stipend for people to pay just to run the portal, we won't collect anything from them, but then they'll be eligible and they'll be in competition if their films are good enough. So that means at the beginning of every year, people in Iran are looking forward to submitting their films every year. So there's a film showing at RTF this year called The Badger. Yeah, it's not been premiered in Iran. They've not done anything with it. Wow. So we only spoke to when the guys submitted, just told us, you know what, do some kind of geo-blocking so it's only available to people in Nigeria, not Iran, because I don't want our people to see it before we premiere in Iran. But they are so eager to show their films in Nigeria. And the thing about Iran again is that I'm a huge fan of Iranian cinema because as a filmmaker, if there's one thing that is so difficult to control is the pace of a movie.
Okay.
When you pace a movie in such a way that you are not in a hurry, but instead you put the pressure of wanting things to stem faster on the viewer, while you just take your time to make things unfold. I think that's so much mastery. I don't think I can do that. We had a Q&A session yesterday where this guy was there, Kayode Kasum, and he has a little bit of that in his movie. I was like, Kayode, I've seen your movies. I like the way the pacing and all of that. It's close to Iranian cinema. It's not exactly it. And I said, I'm here to learn because I want to make a movie that will just look like an Iranian film.
Okay.
And he said the only thing he can say is that he thinks about the music to use for the scene. So he's pacing the scenes based on the soundtrack he's going to use eventually. However, and I love that, like, I'm going to try it. After the session, I sat back and I realized that in most of the Iranian movies, there's even no soundtrack. So it's not about the soundtrack. So it's just something. It's something. I think it's a combination of everything they've been through as a people for hundreds of years and what they're still going through now. It just shows forth in their movies.
Wow.
So we tried to have like an Iranian film bouquet where people can just sit down and appreciate movies from Iran and see what we've been missing by not seeing those kind of films.
I only saw 2 of them yesterday. Now I didn't really even connect to, but you know, and
their cinematography is always awesome.
Okay. Now, having spoken about the pace of the music, because one thing Charles Stanley is known for is light. But that's why I call him the evangelist of light and shades. If you see his film, it's like the light is sculpted. It's like the film is on, and then the light dictates the pace, the color, the mood, the mode of the film itself. I don't know if any of us can relate to that, Dr. Adeyemi Osaze, you critics of film, Malade, or you want to speak to that? I mean, why do you pay so much emphasis on light? And
well, you know my background. I'm a trained fine artist.
Okay, maybe you can tell us.
So I did fine art in Yabatech and Uniben, and I specialized in painting. I have my bachelor's in painting. And so when I go into filmmaking, I realized this is just this is an extension of my canvas and my palette in motion picture. So everything I would have loved to do on the canvas, I'm doing it on film. So that means for me, the lighting design in my films is very important because one thing they told us, because in art school, they just give you assignments and you teach yourself. One thing they told us was that it's not so much about the color of what you are doing, it's about the level of the color. Okay. See, so there's hue, there's saturation, there's level, and there's overall tonality of the whole stuff. So again, when I'm making a film, one element I use to tell my story is my lighting design. So I could have one shot of someone just sitting down in one place and it just goes from here to the other place. And with the lighting design, it's just that the disadvantage of the kind of films I make is because not a lot of people are really versed in that understanding.
That's exactly where.
So it's happening and not a lot of people are appreciating the work, but it won't stop me from doing it because that's my identity, right? Okay. But when people who understand colors and lighting design see what I'm doing, they know. So they sit down. And I like to make use of silence a lot of times. So nobody's saying something.
Which is something that you see in our
There's
films.
A lot of suggestive things going on.
A lot of noise in our films.
But the lighting design can help you in combination with the cinematography to tell very deep meanings of what's happening in the scene without words. Because I believe if something else can convey the message, don't use words. Reserve the words for highly important moments where people need to speak. That's my own philosophy. I'm not imposing on anybody, but that's just my philosophy.
Why would you think that that particular style is not catching on? Because by all means, you are also a successful filmmaker because you've established your name.
I know, but I've not made any highest grossing film.
No. I don't think we should look at those box office.
No, you get what I'm trying to say, but what I'm saying is that I'm making films like as an artist.
Okay.
So I'm still respecting that film and cinema is an art. Okay. So I'm approaching cinema as an art form, and that's what I'm doing. It is not the most lucrative way to approach cinema in our climate, which is really heavily commercialized, but it should be a little bit comforting when more people understand the pain, the things you've done painstakingly to convey some messages. So, which is why when we have a festival, it's a good opportunity to find few people who understand all those other subtexts and salient ways of telling history stories and also conveying messages who can do it, and we bring them to come and do masterclass. So what we are doing is that we are doing a kind of indoctrination of a segment of the society little by little. So before you know what's happening, we have a sizable amount of people who appreciate such films.
Okay.
You know, because like when I was in France last month, there was a very interesting conversation we had, and they said what the European populace is interested in is auteur films.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
So
generally,
really,
yes.
they're auteur films.
Yes.
So now my question was that now that we've started indoctrinating young filmmakers to tell those kind of films, then what we should start doing is connecting the dots so that we can now help them to push those movies to Europe where they can be appreciated too. Because personally, I won't lie to you, I think I'm not really so keen on making films that will go and show on the big screen anymore locally, because as far as I'm concerned, it's almost like having a PhD program where you allow secondary school children to attend now, because that's where I see.
Don't let BOI.
No, I'm not trying to diss anyone. It's just the fact. I'm just saying. No, I won't even collect money from BOI, because the way I was raised is that don't owe money so that you can sleep well at night. When you sleep and you're owing money, you're not sleeping well. You know, so I don't think I'll ever collect money from BOI. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, the artistry behind the film is what that's the take home for me.
Okay. Well, this is Culture Train on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring Nigerians and Africans in diaspora up to speed. And our guest is Stanley Oyikware, the one I call very experimental filmmaker, experimental artist, and is the founder and director of the Real-Time International Film Festival. The festival is ongoing. It will end tomorrow. And we have him in the house I don't know whether I should go into the second phase, or if Dr. Adeyemi or Saze or Molade, if you want to ask your question now, because I want to engage you.
I only have one more question anyways, just to talk about the awards.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Why have you, because most of these films are experimental and they're submitted on that basis. So what is the award process not a kind of a way of making it competitive, or are you using it to develop the quality? If that's the case, then I mean, talk us through the awards process
for our festival.
Yes.
Yeah, the award that we.
Because I will expect, you know, when you have the award for when you have this festival with all the kind of progressive filmmaking, experimental filmmaking, you want it to be where the filmmakers can actually benefit from one another and gain more experience.
Yeah.
But then there's the award component, which which you are going to explain why.
Okay. So the way the award system works at the festival is you can submit your movie for free and submit it in a non-competitive category at the festival, or you can submit in a competitive category at the festival. So you can decide to say, I just want to show my film. I'm not interested in awards. You can decide to say, I'm submitting because I'm interested in awards. So the only people eligible for awards are those who submitted saying, okay, you know what, we want to put this film here because we want to be considered for awards. And so how we go about the award process that has made it really fulfilling, because these 6 years, nobody has queried any award that's been given at RTF. The first step is that every Nigerian film that's up for an award for maybe best Nigerian film or best Nigerian short film or all of that, the people who decide who wins the award, they are not Nigerians. So that's the first thing we had to do. So when we have Nigerians on our jury, the Nigerians focus on the foreign films. And then when we have the foreigners on the jury, focus on the Nigerian films. And then at the end of the day, we're using Film Freeway. And you know, when we're talking to Stephen Ibeli, the PR guy from the US Embassy, he said one, he said, you guys have not bragged enough of the things you've done. I'm not a bragging person. We try not to brag because that's the way I was raised. But in all honesty, RTF introduced Film Freeway to the entertainment space.
Okay.
So before RTF, people were saying, oh, submit your DVD to so and so address in Surulere or VI or Lekki. But we went on this platform called Film Freeway, where you could actually have this back end. So the films are there. You create an account, you allow all the members of the jury in, and they can rate the movies.
Yes.
So they watch the movies, they rate the movies, and then it makes the work easy for the head of jury, who just goes and looks at everything, collates them, and based on his own notes, he says, you know what, this is the overall collation of the marks for this movie.
Yes.
However, in my own opinion, I think this one should be here. And then it's a very respectful and matured process, and everybody has to come to a compromise. You know what? Based on, so what are the things you are looking for? Overall, even two films are now contending for the same thing, and we need to choose one. The first thing we have to look at what the artistry and the philosophy behind the film.
Okay.
So the artistry and philosophy can make one movie stand over the other. So perhaps they are both beautifully shot movies with high production value, and they both have equal level of artistry, but one has a stronger philosophy than the other. Because for me, an artist without a philosophy and a style is not an artist.
That's exactly where
so
that's
basically it. So even though a lot of people might come into the pool because, okay, fine, you're all equally qualified, when we have to separate people and hold one person over the other, the artistry and the philosophy are the milestones that we use to determine.
Okay, in fact, that's exactly where we're going, Dr. Adeyemi, because we're coming into the studio late, I was asking him downstairs that what I've read about his work, my study of his work, is that he's an artist who tried to, talk about regeneration. I don't want to use the word rebirth because rebirth have been overused. Regeneration of the human experience, of the human spirit, of society. The film that I've seen, even The Man Behind the Wheel, Bishop Idahosa, all this work that I've seen, even in short films, he's also a master of short films. So that's why I created the theme Art for Social and Human Regeneration. I want him to speak to that, and then we can interrogate him. We have the next 30 minutes to do that. It's Stanley Oyikware on Culture Train on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring Nigerian and African diaspora up to speed. And we're debriefing Stanley Oyikware, the director of RTF International Film Festival. You can fire me.
Okay, so talking about...
Just know that Dr. Adeyemi is there.
No, I know.
The intellectuals are there.
They are writing things down. They want to fire me. I'm watching them. No wahala. I know what he's doing. I cannot see his hand, but he's writing something. He wants to fire me. Don't worry, I have my signature here.
My hands are white.
Show me your table. Show me your table. Okay, so essentially, I believe film is a veritable tool for social change. It's not just about entertainment, even though it's showbiz and you're supposed to do the show and make money out of it so you can continue the business. But we completely undermine the importance of film in terms of restructuring society and creating narratives that will help people to change their perception about life and everything. Someone told me about a movie that was made in the North, a girl who was raped, and something like that.
Voiceless.
Yeah, I think so.
Voiceless,
and it's that movie caused the traditional ruler to rule in her favor as opposed to what has been happening since. Because normally the men just go scot-free and the girl suffers everything. But they showed the movie there and the guy saw it and it just changed his mind. So imagine someone having a change of mind from something that has been the norm for maybe hundreds of years in that society. That's how powerful film is. I think some years back, if you go to, I don't know whether it's still the same thing now, but if you went to the website of the World Economic Forum, they have it there, 10 films that changed the world.
Oh yeah, they still publish.
It's still there, right?
Yeah,
okay, good.
Yeah.
So you see films like 2012 talking about climate change and how the world could end. Yeah. Until that film was made and some other films like it, people didn't take the whole issue of climate change seriously. Okay, you get what I'm trying to say? In 2013 or so, I made a movie called Verdict.
Okay. Yeah,
and it was a very simple movie, shot in one location in just a couple of hours with just one actress, Zena Balogun. That movie ended up getting like 12 nominations at the NBC and winning Best Cinematography that year. Okay. But it wasn't, I didn't make it because I wanted to win an award, because I saw the story about this young girl who went to Iraq to go and fight on behalf of the US Army after the 9/11 attack. And then in her camp, there in the American base, she was raped, killed, And whoever killed her poured acid in her private part to hide DNA evidence and dragged her from her tent to another tent and set her body on fire just to inside. This one is not out inside enemy camp, inside her own camp. And then when the military sat on the case, they said it was suicide. Wow. I think that's the part that killed me. I was like, okay, so here's my imagination because I'm a very graphic person, right? So I was like, okay, so what the US Army is saying is that the girl shot herself in the head. And after she was dead, her dead body dragged her dead body outside her tent, poured lye like acid in her private part. And her dead body, her corpse again, lit her body on fire to burn herself. I was like, if they said this in Nigeria, I'll be like, Nigeria, wait till we not go here.
It's in Africa.
How come US? So I was like, I need to tell this story. But it took me 2 years to find the direction and the way to treat that story. I was just sitting one day and because I set an alarm about the anniversary of that incident, and just like 2 days to the anniversary, and I was thinking about it again. I said, why don't you tell the story according to what the American US Army is saying and let the whole world see how stupid it is? Okay. So I just made a short film, one actor, and she did everything to herself.
That's the verdict.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, that movie is still, every day I still get comments on that video on YouTube.
Wow.
And the moment I eventually posted it on the anniversary of the girl's death, and I put the story there, it was on YouTube. And 2 hours later, I got a call from a foreign number. And it was someone, he said, are you Stanley? Oh, I said, yes, Ohigwari. He said, you uploaded a movie. I said, yes. He said, did you know Lavena Johnson, that's a girl? I said, no. He said, so why did you make the movie? What's your connection? I said, I saw the story and it was a stupid story and I thought I should debunk it. And he said, don't worry, I'm the legal representative of the Johnson family. The head of the Johnson family will call you next. The girl's family, the girl's father called and requested to put that movie on a website where they put a petition to reopen the case so they can get, all they are looking for is just justice. You can't bring their daughter back, but don't tell the lie that she killed herself. That's all they are looking for. So till today, that movie is on that page in change.org beside their petition to reopen the case. And that's why people keep seeing it and commenting on the video on YouTube.
Okay.
You understand? So for me, I think every time you make a movie, it has the potential of changing a lot of things. So in as much as you can put entertainment there, let's also remember that we have the same opportunity to use this same material to cause a change. And if everybody thinks of that, not everybody can think that way, but you see, it's a lonely road to go because not a lot of people are thinking about that.
That's why you can't get a BOM.
Exactly. So most people are thinking about how will I.
Okay. If you so much believe that art can lead to social and human regeneration or rebirth, depending on what people want. How come that all these decades that art has been produced in Nigeria, and we produce global citizens in the art. Yeah. How come that the art is making the least of impact? The least of impact, sometimes we're not even interested. Look at what someone was telling me, actually somebody very close to me said, if you guys have the problem of insurgent, bandits, kidnappers and all of that, how come that the old art scene is not swimming with materials being produced by artists? Because we have a lot of artists.
Yeah, because
you know that why?
I'm also a fine artist, don't forget to.
I know.
So
but it doesn't show in painting, not yours. It doesn't even show in painting, it doesn't show in music. Yeah, but you see, it doesn't show in film. It doesn't show
when people suggest that in music, it is censored. Let's be honest. When people suggest all these issues that are serious issues that should be addressed in music, the songs are censored. I know Falls the Bad Guy did one song, and that was like a protest song where he said, oh, this is Nigeria, want you, and this, all of a sudden
no, saying, I don't think the argument, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Because in those days when you have to go, I'm not saying don't defy the census board or so. In those days when you have to go to them to get the census. Now we're in the age of free media. People can upload. You just talked about YouTube. Yeah, I'm not sure you took the film to any.
Yes, but eventually, I'm just saying, I'm giving you the reaction.
Okay.
I'm coming from the point of view of the reaction to such materials.
Okay.
A lot of people are going through so much stress that they don't need extra stress in their life. They'll be like, if not this while I beg, make I live out.
Okay.
You get what I'm trying to say? So now for the fine artist, the visual artist who is making paintings, if you make a painting about Boko Haram, who will buy it? That's the thing. So you need to paint, you need to paint things. Why did I stop painting? Have I ever told you? I'm a surrealist, right?
I know.
I left school and everything I wanted to do was surrealism. I was inspired by Salvador Dali, you know. And then I had a lecturer in Uniben, Okojo Drag, who was also a surrealist. And it was like, I'm just going to graduate, have this big studio and just be painting my dreams and fantasies. And then my first exhibition, people went out and be like, this boy is possessed. Yeah. Because the moment you go beyond the physical and you go toward the metaphysical or the subliminal, people think that there's something wrong with you. Why is he doing things that look strange? You understand what I'm trying to say? And I had to tackle somebody one day. I said, hold on, stop there. And I said, say you are a Christian. He said, yes. I said, you believe in God and angels? He said, yes. I said, do you know that the picture of angels you see when they paint it, it's not how angels look? If a real angel, those cherubims or how they call them, shows up where in the middle of a church, looking the way it is described in the Bible, the whole church will run and say a demon has entered the church. If you read the Bible, because I'm a Christian, there's a part where they talk about, all the 7 beasts that are in the presence of God, Abi?
Yeah.
The description of those things, a lion with an eagle's head with how many wings and claws and everything, if those things were the presence of God show for church go empty, pastor go say devil don't come. I'm just saying like, look, but look, I allow myself,
this is interesting.
You know what I'm trying to say? I allow myself not to be restricted by those sentiments. So if something occurs to me, look, I document my dreams. I have a tape recorder. It's even in my bag and I carry it everywhere. So when I'm sleeping at night, I press the record button and I pause it. Because I realize that every time when I have a dream I want to remember, between getting up and trying to write it down, as I'm writing, it's disappearing. So I have an entire project that I'm working on and a book I'm writing that's entirely based on my dreams. You get what I'm trying to say? So again, when that comes out, they'll say he's more possessed than ever. But let's not digress. So I'm just saying, if I decided to not make painting the source of livelihood because of the perception of the population toward my painting, which was surreal, then imagine what will happen to someone who wants to use his painting as a social tool for social advocacy. Then he can't survive with painting. So now let's go into film. Let's go into film now again.
Okay.
Or sculpture. Even the sculpture is even worse. So if you sculpt Wakati, they'll say, no, this one is this one.
I know that some pastors will even send you.
Exactly. You know what I'm trying to say?
So I'm told that one big man in Abuja does not want to see any sculpture.
When I went to the National Museum the last time, there's a sculptor there, Joseph. He gave me a sculptural piece just as a gift. And I took it out and I was driving. It was on my seat when I was driving and all that. And when I was in traffic and people were looking at it, they were, in fact, police not even near my motor. They'll be like, this one at Jujuma. I was like, are you serious?
What if you put oil on it?
You see, Stanley, the seed of the, I mean, you just said that your films are tools for social change. The seed of the change is actually in your films. So that means you use the films more to educate us who are so much brainwashed by the Bible, or by the church, not by the Bible, by the church and by the mosque, by our superstitions. We're so brainwashed that we don't actually know the truth anymore. So, and the truth is in your films. The truth is in these films that you're mentioning and how you are making the films. So maybe, I mean, you're talking about education and entertainment, but maybe the education aspect needs to be more reinforced. Or don't you think so?
I think so, and I believe
it will take a long time. I know it's going to take a long time. It's not a one-day job.
No, you're absolutely right, sir. And to answer this question, I'll tell you about the last project I just finished making. So the last movie I made is called A Tune Away. It's a movie about a boy who has autism and has been living with autism, and nobody has been able to penetrate him till a young girl comes to volunteer at the school And because she succeeds to penetrate him with her unique ways in a way that no other person has, he eventually falls in love with her. Even so, he's getting better in his social life, but he's falling in love with her, only to find out at the end of the day that she's getting married to someone else, and he's heartbroken. Now, what did we do with that movie? So, what was the first step? I wanted to make that movie in 2014. I didn't. Then I revisited it in 2019, just before COVID. In fact, COVID stopped us from the last day of shoot. Now, what did we do? When we decided to make the film, I put out a call and I said, I'm looking for someone who's living with autism. So I'm making a movie about autism and I need a real autistic person to be in the movie. And I published it. If I will even publish it on the iRead group. And then people started calling me saying, Stanley, are you sure you're okay? What do you think you're doing? Like, you think it's easy? You think people who have autism are normal people who you can put on a film set and they will function? And I'm like, so when we see all those ability and disability, I beg, is it just lip service? I said, look, is it not my film? I'm the one making the experiment, taking the risk. If I fail, I'll call you later and say, oh, thank you for warning me. Now that I failed, I should have listened to you. I said, but still then, allow me to try what I want to do. Long story short, in 8 months, I found somebody. In 8 months, I got Bimbo Akintola graciously agreed to help with the acting coaching. My younger brother, who's a musician, helped him because he didn't just have to act, he had to sing in the movie.
Yes.
So my younger brother helped him with the voice coaching and all of that. We made the movie and I did the press screening at Alliance Française sometime last month or 2 months ago, and it was amazing. So someone who was written up like, oh, he has autism, he can't do anything. Now we've made a feature film with him as the lead character and a title character. You get what I'm trying to say? So for me, I don't believe in talking about, I believe in just show it, don't do it. I'd rather do it than talk so much about it. And the next movie I'm doing very soon, from next month by God's grace, I'm co-directing the movie with a blind person.
Blind person?
Yes.
How is that going to work?
Because sight is not vision.
Wow. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sight is not vision. The blind person has more vision than I can ever imagine. Forget all this my surrealism while they talk, all my world of dream and fantasy and all my inspiration. I still don't have a quarter of the vision of a blind person. So you can imagine what that movie. Yes, because the person's sense of imagination is amplified. Because okay, sir.
I was just asking what the film is about.
Okay, it's should I say it?
No, I mean you mentioned the film about autism.
Okay, I'll
you can
say
just
it.
in way say it's about something, you know.
Okay,
don't give out your secrets.
No wala. It's a movie because it's already on my IMDb page. So those who go there will see it. Okay, it's a movie about an artist who falls in love with his art, a sculptor who falls in love with his sculpture.
Oh, okay.
That's basically the summary.
That is crazy.
And how did the sculpture come alive? The sculpture came alive because the model who used to model for him was a worshipper of Oshun and Yemoja. So
took the spirit.
Yes. So I know what Oshun does and Yemoja, life-giving voice and all of that. So again, I don't want to go into too much, but a lot of research went into it because I didn't just want to say statue came alive and they asked me how did statue come alive. I said, I don't know. So there's a very serious philosophy and research behind that story. Okay. But at the end of the day, the sculpture comes alive and they begin to enjoy a romantic relationship to the point that it becomes even an erotic relationship. Let me stop there, Sean. So maybe for Steve, we watch the film.
Okay. Do you have another question, or because Samuel wanted to ask and Malade? Are you ready for your questions now? Hello? Maybe they're not here.
They're not ready.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, if they're not ready, I can just.
You can.
But let me just throw one quick thing in. Okay. One quick thing in. And the reason why, when I thought of how would this character come alive, the reason why I went to the Orishas is because beyond, like we had ambassadors from Trinidad and Tobago and Brazil at our session at Alliance Française on Thursday.
Okay.
And one thing struck me that, do you know they're even exporting Yoruba culture? I think the US is investing more in the Yoruba language than any other language in the world.
Oh, yes.
Yes, as we speak. Then secondly, the people in the Caribbeans have very strong Yoruba ties. especially those in Brazil. And there are some things that they practice that are even deeper than what we are practicing here.
Oh, I've seen that in Mexico.
Yeah, because the deal is that the people who are there, those who were taken out like slaves, right? And perhaps they were the real priests and priestesses and all that, and they took it there and been practicing it since that time. And then, so imagine if I was the one who could order rain to fall from the sky, and maybe I taught an apprentice, but he now took me somewhere else. And now my apprentice becomes the main man in this place. The apprentice still doesn't know as much as I do. And then wherever I am, I make my apprentices who will have more years to understudy me and know better than the one in my homeland. So everybody admits to the fact that there is so much that is even lost in transition between the original cultures and practices and the one that we know now is modernized.
Okay, so Dr. Adeyemi.
Well, what I want to say, I want to phrase it as a comment, so you don't have to answer it. Okay, and this has to do with this artist who falls in love with his creation, and you had a follow up about the West, US, and so on, coming back to our own culture in Africa, coming back to our myths, coming back to our legends, but the artist falling in love reminds me of Pygmalion in Greek mythology. So as others are coming to us, it seems as if you go into the Greek for stories. Of course, it is not originally a Greek story, I admit. It's more of a Phoenician story, and there are probably versions of it all over the old world. But the better known ones, because of course, we know all the history of education and so on, are the Greek stories. So, and that's just my comment. Like I said, you don't have to answer it, or you've actually answered it by saying that others are coming from US to take our own stories and see the value in our own stories. Just notice that it strikes me as a world in which we are all becoming more interconnected, becoming more linked, so that at the end of the day, there will be nobody who will claim ownership of a particular story. We'll all own these stories because these stories benefit us. Similar to Verdict. Verdict is now being used to fight for justice for Lavina Johnson. But it's not, you don't say, oh, this is now my story. It's become a world story. It's become everybody's story, and we can all benefit from it, which goes with your idea of social change, which actually goes with your theme for this festival of democracy. So that's my comment. Like I said, I phrase it not as a question.
So I won't answer since it's not a question. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now 6 years down the line, and the kind of philosophy you try to push through the idea of the RTF. Have you seen, because we're talking about social transformation, have you seen anything to show you that you're on the right path? Because you could be a lone evangelist, you just going your own way and you think everybody's following you, but you're alone. And the day you say, oh, I'm dropping the ball, everybody just dropped off.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
And the first thing I'll tell you is that 6 years ago when we started, there were young filmmakers. They were not even filmmakers then. They were young enthusiasts who came to the festival to just come and see film.
Okay.
And this year they are carving a niche for themselves in the industry.
Yeah, producing
that has happened year in, year out for the whole 6 years.
Okay.
And so it's when you see that kind of capacity being built, I think that's what really fuels us. Because sometimes when it feels like, the spending on these things too much, or how do we do it? And then you come across someone whose life has been affected by the good work we're doing, it's very difficult to think about, the inconvenience you're going through. Okay. Because I think the best investment you can make in this world is investing in someone else's life.
Okay.
And if we're preparing them, and there's something we say, and we don't say it as if we're shy, we say it with pride and we brag about it. We tell people, whatever you have received, pay it forward. Okay. So let that be in their consciousness, that whatever goodwill you've received, when you are now established and you are big enough to, and you are doing big things, pay it forward. Don't think only about yourself. Think about other people. Yeah.
Okay. Omalade has his hand up, so you can unmute and ask a question. I wish you could see your video too. Well, go ahead.
I'm on the road, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I am Omalade Dalmas. I'm a cultural administrator, actually. Mr. Stanley, you just mentioned something about the story you're about to make, which is that of a sculptor that fell in love with his work, and at the end of the day, it was related to Oshun, Yemoja, and all that. As a Yoruba man, or should I say, as an African or a Nigerian, there are so many histories, especially that of our deities that we don't even see, apart from Shango, Ogun, Yemoja, Olokun. There are so many of them that we are supposed to portray as either a filmmaker, a documentarian, or any act of the creative art. How or where can you come in terms of trying to portray these images out in your film festival? Especially if you, okay, let me take you to the American films like Thor. All of us, we know Thor is like Shango. Whirlwind is like Oya. We have so many of them like that. Deadpool, Issue, many of them like that. But yeah, when we talk about some of these deities, it is being covered like nobody, nothing. Many people call Shango the god of thunder, god of lightning and thunder. But do we know about Oranfe? There is a deity called Oranfe. Many people don't know about him. We have Oshosi. That is why you said something about the Caribbean, how they practice their gods and deities, the traditional religion, which we hear that we really own this whole thing. We don't even say anything about it. Please, how do you think, as a filmmaker and as a festival owner, what do you think we can do to project these images? Not in the old traditional ways, because they want to say, Shango Meje, Ogun Meje, and all that. No, there are ways we can communicate it and still be for a better production. Thank you, sir.
Okay. In terms of what I'm doing, I think that's what I just talked about. I'm actively doing things on my own part. And there's another movie I'm working on with the Yoruba, something that I don't even want to say here for trademark issues, because I'm keeping it on the low for now till I unveil it, till I'm sure. Because usually what I do is that when I think about the project, all the elements of my production, I do my trademarks where I need to do trademarks, I do copyright where I need to do copyright. And if I've not done those things, I don't talk about those projects publicly. So the other one, I can't talk about it publicly now, but trust me, I'm doing it. So as a filmmaker, I think that answers it from my point of view. As a festival, we are still the only festival in the history of the whole Nigeria that shows Yoruba films. I don't think that's, yes. And so what we do is that someone submits a Yoruba film with high production value, nice cinematography. There is always a strong philosophy behind Yoruba film. So that one is a given, right? So, but high production values, good acting and all of that. And we select it as long as it meets the criteria, but most festivals will not even give it a chance to show a Yoruba film in a festival because they will naturally tend toward the Western films and all of that. And they'll feel like if we put a Yoruba film on our schedule, people will be like, this festival, which kind of festival is this? So if you go on our schedule, you find there's one called something Wura or something.
Yes.
Yeah, it's there.
That's showing tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's showing tomorrow. You get what I'm trying to say? Last year we showed another one. 2 years ago we showed, what's the title of that one again? Amomu Dada was in it, And so for three years back to back, since, because we made it clear, just once your film meets your criteria, it doesn't matter whether it's where it's from or anything, submit it. Last year we showed a film by Ali Nuhu. It's a Kannywood movie. But it was well shot, beautiful and everything. The fact that you were speaking Hausa doesn't make it, and let me say this for emphasis, the fact that I can speak English doesn't make me better than someone who can speak English. Because English as a language doesn't make me intelligent. When you meet most of those Japanese and Chinese guys who are really like, they are just home, they don't go anywhere. They are more intelligent than a lot of people who speak big grammar. So English is not a qualification for intelligence. You understand? So as a festival, that's what we are doing. We are doing our best to diversify. the three tenets of our festival is inclusiveness, collaboration, and equity. Okay. So inclusiveness, that means, I think right now we're still the only festival that operates with people with disability. We have someone who's blind as our head of programming. We have a couple of other guys who are like sight impaired on our team. You understand? When we had our opening ceremony at the shrine, there was someone there doing sign language for those who might be there who don't hear. You know, so we think so much about inclusiveness, you know. And for me, when I talk about diversity, diversity in my dictionary is not necessarily about sexual orientation, because that's what the whole world has cornered it into.
Yeah, that's what
you know, my sexual preference is not, that's not diversity. Diversity means we are in a society. Okay, I have a son who's deaf, and this is not story, it's fact. Okay. So my son goes out in public. I'm teaching myself sign language,
so I can communicate with him.
Okay, so all of us in the family can communicate in that sign language, right? So if my son goes out alone and wants to sign for someone who doesn't know what sign language is, we will most likely start insulting him, because it's a society that doesn't think about people who have special needs.
Okay.
You understand? So there is another initiative I'm working on in that direction, because that one is very personal to me. You get what I'm trying to say? So again, everything that has to do with inclusiveness and diversity and collaboration, that's what the festival is all about. And we do not shut our doors on anybody as long as you have merit.
But there's a larger context to the question he was asking. How does the art, you know, because we're talking about art as an intervention.
Yeah.
He also, I mean, the tail part of his question was, how can art make meaningful intervention in such a way that you could begin to reproject or reinterpret or, you know, represent these gods, these elements of our culture, not just Yoruba, the Edo, it could be outside.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Let me talk about. See, if from this conversation now, anybody who's listening, because sometimes people just like, Stanley, you have not shot any movie. What are you doing? You are not working. No, it's not a fact. I spent years developing stuff.
Okay.
So from 2020, when the lockdown happened till now, I've developed 8 unique stories and series. And when I say developed, fully developed with character designs, everything. One of the things I developed, so I wasn't even going to talk about it, you came here. So I went back to my roots as an animator, because one of the earliest things I did as a professional was animation. As far back as the early 2000s, there were just 3 of us doing animation in the whole of Nigeria. Myself, the Major Ajibola, and there was a guy called Yole, who now died, but he trained Wole Adubu.
Yes.
So Yole trained Wole Adubu. So it was just because
Yole into photography.
Yes. So Yole died. So it was me, Dimeji, Wole Adubu, and all the animations done for all the agencies in the whole of Nigeria. It was just between the 3 of us. And so I took the money I was making from there and invested into a feature film. And I was making a feature-length animated movie all by myself. And then I was training some young guys, but of course, when they learn a little, they run away to go and make money with it, till I eventually had to finish the whole stuff myself. Long story short, but I'm just saying, I had to revisit my animation background because I needed to do a story about the repatriation of African artifacts back to Nigeria. Okay. So it's an animated movie, and the whole crux of the story is trying to put pressure and lend my voice to the ongoing conversations about the repatriation of artifacts back to Nigeria. So it's very intelligent. I can share the link to the pitch I made to you guys, because I pitched that story at the Annecy International Film Festival in France. And it was ranked one of the top 3 best projects that were pitched. You understand? So of course, so with all the questions now, from my point of view, I'm doing a lot. Yeah. So I'm doing a lot in this cultural part. You know what I'm trying to say? And there's a group in Benin now that is saddled with that responsibility of putting pressure, and I think even the Germans are about to send a lot back very soon.
But then we're developing that argument. I mean, just complicate matters.
Yes,
that's not why we're
here.
But
you see, what I do is that when I'm making a movie, I do a lot of research, and so part of what forms my storyline is the research I have. So now, part of what the French, especially, or the French, yes, are saying, no, the British are saying, oh, we can do 3D prints of your artifacts that will look like the exact same things and send the 3D prints to you. So why don't you guys keep the 3D prints and send the originals to the people? Because the artifacts, they have a home, right?
Yes.
So they only have spiritual value when they are where they are supposed to be.
Yes.
You understand? Because of course, as an art student, I know art from the beginning of time, even prehistoric art was made from the point of view of functionality. So what those guys stole were functional things. It's like coming to steal all the internet masts in the whole of the US and bringing them to Africa. And everybody in the US cannot connect to the internet anymore.
You have to come through
You
Nigeria.
get what I'm trying to say? So if you take all those artifacts, they are like spiritual internet masts for those who worship those deities. And you're taking those masts away. You know, of course,
if you go in the direction of the debate,
it will be a very long one. You know, but you see, one disheartening fact about these things that so we are doing this, and part of my research, I realized that there was an African country, let me not mention the name, that they actually sent back their artifacts to them. Okay. And the artifacts were at the airport. And the whole country was not willing to pay the freight charges for the artifact, and the things were just there at the airport. So when they see things like that, how do they want to believe that you will? So even though it's not their wahala to think of how we take care of our gods, but I'm not saying how would anybody believe that this thing you're fighting for, you will take care of it?
You know, no, we even have a very bad case.
Yeah, we have
some works that were repatriated after we launched some campaign in the newspaper, only for one person to go to a market, a flea market abroad, and then he bought the exact work that was taken from me. He bought it again from them and brought it back to show the museum here that, see, this work, I came to submit it because you were asking for it. Now, you know, finally said, you've been sold it.
So it's in the black.
So that's what I said.
So it's a very nice, yeah.
So in other words, you are convinced that the art can make necessary intervention.
Yes, it can. And again, from the point of view, in terms of functionality, yes. And this is speaking to the visual and fine artists, right? Because I'm also a fine artist. And one of the courses we took in school was art appreciation, right?
Yeah.
And
which we don't teach our children
yes.
now, and that's why the art community, consumption group is not growing. But go ahead.
And under art appreciation, they teach you how art has a healing value. Okay. So, for instance, I go to a hospital and there's a child who's terminally ill, and I have a painting with colors that are bright, maybe yellow, amber, orange, very bright and vibrant and reassuring colors. And I make a brilliant painting of a subject that maybe the child likes, and I put it in front of his bed, and he wakes up every day to see that. Do you know that contributes to his recovery?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, it's just that we've gone to a point where we're in a nation now where people do not think intellectually about everything, you know, but with a little intellectual discourse, to support the physical work we are doing and the creative work, I think art can actually have more impact in society than it's having right now.
Okay, we're stretching this a bit because we started late. We're still on Culture, Trade, and Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring Nigerians and African diaspora up to speed. And our guest is still Stanley Oyikwari, director and founder of Real Time International Film Festival, fine artist, the one we call the evangelist of light and images, because you need to see Stanley's films to understand what I'm talking about. When we talk about light, you could produce a whole film just using light only. In fact, you think that you're watching a poetry in motion because of the shade, the colors, and the rest of them. And we're engaging in, someone has a question to, Dr. Adeyemi. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I think I've got the answer. I just wanted to find out whether the film it was talking about the autistic child is the same one as A Tune Away.
Yeah, that's it. A Tune Away.
Yeah. Okay, I've seen the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer.
You did where you went to the artist. And,
yes.
Okay.
I even put a bit of introduction about the guy and how we found him and all that.
Okay. But okay, so the other side of the question I was asking before Omalade's question came in. You know, I was asking about the people who must have benefited from your training, from your program, your project. Now, the audience that you're talking to, and I'm not talking of your new global audience now that we're in the new normal. The audience that have been following you since 2016, have you seen your work making such tremendous impact or making some kind of impact on your watchers, your listeners, your fans? Because I know you have a lot of people who follow you also on social media.
Yeah. I've seen people who follow my work. There are a lot of people who follow my work. They are not the regular people who. When I say are not the regular people, you know what I mean. because I'm a deep and I'm a somewhat philosophical person. So you know what they say, deep calls to deep. So when people see something that feels like them, they are attracted to it. So I have those kind of people who are dense followers of my work. But however, through the medium of the festival, of course, I'm the artistic director, right? So there's really no way I won't be trying to find new converts. so it's a very viable place to find new converts, people who you can actually suggest this kind of this idea of filmmaking to, and if they show the interest, you nurture them to become that kind of filmmaker as well, that tells very philosophical and artistic stories. And yes, and there is a growing population of such young filmmakers. And I'm more than proud that I've been able to be part of the success story of some people. They are still evolving, but I can already see their future. And I know they are going to be great. You get what I'm trying to say? So I think, again, that's basically it.
Okay, I saw that Sam showed his face. Maybe he was ready for his question. Otherwise, I'll fire the question home question. Sam Osaze, poet. Osaze, he showed his face just now, and then
Sam is in the Oba's palace.
Or maybe he's writing poetry somewhere.
Osaze, do man.
Oh, okay, you're back. Look at your rich library. Go on.
Yeah, that's my mighty library. Yes, that's the conversation quite, interesting. I'm quite, he's been doing a lot of things and all that. But I mean, unfortunately, perhaps I'm not so commercial with the who and who in the film industry. So I never got to meet him till now. And quite particularly, doing things about, autism and all that. That's brilliant and awesome. But I actually wanted to ask some questions, regarding, exploring culture or cultural things. Like, I know the whole country was fascinated by this recently concluded series, Blood of Enoji, something like that. I don't know. I actually don't.
Which one was that?
Blood of the Enoji, something like that. Yes, about the culture and all that. I was going to ask a question. I think someone already asked that same question about, something cultural, background. So but as if you are more concerned about, new things and, incapacitation or, people who have some special needs, like, autistic children and all that. Yeah, that's basically.
I said that I didn't want to spill so much about the other project I'm working on, but I can give a little clue. So what I did was that there's something in vogue now called Afrofuturism.
Yeah.
So Afrofuturism is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. But here's my view on Afrofuturism. Afrofuturism is neo-colonialism. Because what is happening is that they are forcing us to depict our cultural things in a way that is Hollywood glorified. So I was telling someone when I traveled the last time, I said, when a jazz man is jazzing somebody and the person is feeling it and falling down, you don't see laser coming from his eye. There is no physical thing or visual thing to show that this was happening. The thing just they happen. You understand? So again, I think it's that whole thing.
Jazz.
That's why it's jazz. You know what I mean? In my village, there's this masquerade because when I was small, I used to go to a village and my dad used to take us to a village, and that's why I can even speak my language from Edo State. And there's this masquerade that will go into the bush. My dad and his age grade, they have age grade. They're the ones who were responsible for going to the bush to bring out the masquerade. So I'll follow him to the entrance. And I can't pass that place. Even women can't pass. They will go. And as they are coming back, the masquerade is like, the chop is flipping and jumping and jumping and jumping. And from a normal sized person, masquerade, they long. They go. So this one is not, it is not mechanism. It's not technology. It's not technology. You understand what I'm trying to say? So, no, it's not. Me, I'm Amora now.
Okay.
See, Afrofuturism is trying to insist that for us to depict Africanism and our strong cultural stuff, we must tie it to technology. So in essence, it is Western technology that enables the African mysticism, which is wrong. So at the end of the day, that's what Afrofuturism, but it has come to stay, because bottom line is that people are funding the movement. And once it's being funded and there are grants and monies for people to grab to tell the kind of narrative, of course, that's how you make something permanent. You understand? But at the end of the day, to what end? So now what's happening is that we are going to be raising a new generation of African kids who feel subjected to the dictates, and they don't even know, but they are subjected to the dictates of the Western world through what film is the strongest medium you can use to indoctrinate anybody.
So if you animation go, for instance, is that not what you're describing?
Animation?
No, not really. I think
Shonga is lightning. So lightning is lightning. You understand? Okay. But when look, and where I'm going is that the other film I said I couldn't talk about is actually a movie about a superhero, but a real African superhero not wearing spandex. You understand? Yeah, so it's a real African stuff, but it's not wearing spandex. Yeah. And I'm not going to be showing all those over blue lights or holo one thing that they use Captain Marvel. And no, I don't need to. Do they feel the need to make American movies look Africanized?
Have you seen the film called My Village People?
My Village People, not yet.
Where the lady, because she had this natural power. I know Dr. Adeyemi wanted to say something. Yeah. They had natural power to do what she had to do, because she's the daughter of even a priest. And then when he was going to attack the guy, he started bringing out.
You see, so what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, it's just, we don't need to see the visual. You get what I'm trying to say?
It just happens.
See, if I be correct jazz man, as I look una so, I go just do like this. Person neck go bend.
So far you don't get
I go bend the neck.
So far you don't get to my back.
You know what I mean? Go just bend the neck. You go see any theater computer. Not see person neck go just bend. Or something you are the dumb man and you know what I'm talking about.
Dr. Ade,
yeah, my question is just
you wanted to comment on the
this Afrofuturism.
Yeah.
You know, I just the direction in which Stanley is going is that we deal more in reality.
Yeah.
And Afrofuturism seems to deal more in fantasy. Is that what I'm getting?
Okay. Yes. And that another thing is the fact that Afrofuturism seems to connote that the future of Africa is a fusion of our mysticism with technology. That is not our future. Our future is our past and our present. So it's like we are linear. There's no past, future, present. What we are is what we've always been and what we always be. We don't need any new addition to now make it futuristic.
Exactly.
No, our future is our future. We are what we are. You get what I'm trying to say? Because this is what happens in the Western world. After 200 years, they come out with a new set of reality. And they say, there's no man and woman anymore. Everybody is it. Come on, that's not my reality. You get what I'm trying to say?
Everybody is what you think you
exactly.
Say you are.
What you say you are. You get what I'm trying to say? So permit me, I walk into the White House, I'm the president of America. Who go arrest me? You get what I'm trying to say? So I'm just saying that the word Afro, which connotes Africa, and futurism put together is a tool for neo-colonization, as far as I'm concerned. It's the bitter truth.
We have to develop, Dr. Adeyemi, we have to develop another panel discussion on this particular topic.
Yes, we need to talk more about all this idea of Afrofuturism.
Because a lot of artists are getting lost. They are getting locked
and the way we are reacting to it in literature, in our arts, in our painting.
Everybody's jumping into it.
Yeah.
So what I actually did was that sometime 2 months ago, I sat down because I people don't know, I read a lot, I research. I could spend 1 month on the internet researching and reading, because I was like, you know what, there has to be a counter narrative to Afrofuturism. Okay. I cannot fight. Developed. Yes, I have developed that.
Okay.
If you guys are willing to have a session where I'm ready to share it with but it has to be with a very large audience so it's meaningful. But the bottom line is that I am not trying to fight Afrofuturism because it cannot be fought. Something that is being sponsored to succeed, except there's something else that is better sponsored to make it not succeed, that thing must succeed. You get what I'm trying? So the deal is, don't fight Afrofuturism. Just show people what the real futurism of Africa is.
Show the alternative.
Show the alternative straight up.
Okay. Yeah, Samuel, Shola, we are still on Culture Train anyway, on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring Nigerians and African in diaspora up to speed. And we're engaging, let me use the word engaging for now. We're engaging Stanley Ohikwari, a multi-talented artist, fine artist, filmmaker, storyteller, as I just discovered this.
You know that engagement, if that person you want to go marry. Wedding engagement.
Wedding engagement. Aware the constructing art for social and human regeneration. I think he's given us quite a lot that we need to unpack. In fact, I've just proposed that this Afrofuturism is something we need to come and discuss on Zoom on one of the programs of Culture Train. So let me give the chance to my guests again. If you have questions, Dr. Shola Adeyemi, Samuel Omalade, and others who are online, who are listening to us. Also, phone number that you can call. You can call my number actually, 080-330-76418. 080-330-76418. Otherwise,
is my mic working? Am I using
your mic is, I think your mic is working, yes.
Hello.
Yes, okay. That's another thing we are asking. So any comment or question before we start questioning? We have just about 10 minutes.
I was going to, in addition to his explanation, which I believe is detailed enough, but then I wouldn't mind if he throws more light on, in clear terms, the alternative to Afrofuturism.
Okay. Well, like I said, I've only shared that to one person, right? My contact at Africa No Vision, because we had his name is Victor. He used to work with the British Council.
Okay.
And we had this very long conversation, and I just so I just started spilling it out to him like, I got them. I said, if I said they preach to you, and it's like, man, that this thing I'm saying, I should make sure I document. I said, I make sure I document. I said, well, just check your WhatsApp now. I will send my full document, and I sent to him. I was like, but please don't share with anybody.
Okay.
I will only say this on a big stage with a lot of people listening so that people understand. Because the trouble is that if you start this new sort of indoctrination with the new generation, then whatever kind of consciousness people have been fighting to preserve over the years disappears.
But then if they already set you into Afrofuturism, you still lose.
Yeah, but the trouble, they've not captured everybody.
Okay.
I still believe there are a lot of very intelligent young people in Nigeria who, once presented with an alternative that is intelligent enough and easily understandable, they will actually latch onto it. So, but the trouble is that has to be communicated. Maybe we should take this to the Pan-African University or something.
Okay. Yeah, as a discussion.
I think that's what we should do.
Yeah, it might be.
It has to be somewhere of repute where everybody has the chance to hear about it.
Yeah. Okay. And to speak up to you.
Yeah.
Okay. In any case, still on Culture Train, let's go back to the RTF, because RTF started on Tuesday. You are ending tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I can sleep.
Yes, maybe. You deserve to sleep.
Because these glasses that will hide the tiredness from my eye.
Because between that Tuesday and tomorrow, when this festival will end, Dr. Adeyemi was asking about the experience, the challenges and the experience that you've encountered. I think, but what you've not spoken about is your team.
My team.
The team that you're working with.
Yeah.
What have been their own? Do they feel comfortable? Do they feel fulfilled? Because you sound like everything is okay by you, because you could see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You are the visionary. But those who are working with you, how do you rate the response to the new direction where you are pushing them?
I think generally, even when I'm on a film set as a director, the first thing I do is to make my vision contagious. Okay. Once the vision is contagious and everybody buys into the vision, I do not even need to be around for things to succeed. And when people understand that they are working on something that's bigger than all of us put together, and of course, there are a lot of festivals and that people organize and all of that. It took 5 years for a lot of people to know that I was the one behind RTF. You know now, I actually never wanted it to be called Stanley's Festival. So I typically am not in front of the scene. When you attend RTF, you had this in your I'm behind the scene trying to make sure, because that's what I do. That's my gift. I'm an organizer. I make things happen. And I'm good at making sure, I'm good at finding faults. So I call myself a fault finder. So I find the faults so that the fault doesn't mess up what we're doing or show up at the point where we can do nothing about it. Exactly what I do on a film set. So I look for the faults, because if you don't find the faults in pre-production, you will take those faults into production. And if you miss those faults in production, they will show up in post-production where you can't do anything about them, except maybe spending a huge budget to go and reshoot that scene. You understand? So it's the same mindset. So when we say it's a festival for filmmakers by filmmakers, once you decide to join our team, the first thing we tell you is that RTF is run like a film set. So the same discipline that you have to exhibit on a film set while still enjoying what you do, that's what we expect to see here. And I give them the same analogy I give to my crew members, because every year I expand my team and new people come on board. And the only introduction I give you is that we are like surgeons. A surgeon does not relax on his laurels when he's operating on someone on the operating table. So as long as we are still performing our surgery, AKA filming, everybody has to take it as if it's a do or die affair. And everybody plays defense, everybody plays attack. So it doesn't matter whether it's your responsibility or not. Once you see something that is not working, it becomes your responsibility to fix it. So it's with that mindset. So like I said, it's just my duty to make the vision contagious. And once people have been infected by that vision, like the COVID-19 virus, it's hard to find the vaccine.
Okay, so tomorrow RTF is going to the
Silverbird Gallery.
At the Silverbird.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's something else we do. Okay. So apart from the innovative ideas we come up with, one other thing we do is, because people know we're not coming to beg them for money. So we tell people, we reach out to some people like, you know what, we're having a closing ceremony. We would like to host a closing ceremony. It was never an easy conversation to have when we were just a bunch of filmmakers trying to do a festival. We didn't have a name then. So 2016, 2017, people were like, who will be these ones again? So only those who were attending the festival really understood the value. But what we've managed to do in 6 years is to make sure that not just those who attend the festival see the value now. So it's easier for us now, like this year, closing ceremony we are doing at Silverbird Cinemas. They are giving us 2 halls to use for free. We have never had a free hall in our 6 years. We always pay for everything. So they're giving us 2 halls to use for free and providing popcorn and drinks to everybody who's coming. Wow. As in, we've never had that before. But it just says that we've done 6 years and we've built reputation and integrity to the point that, and that was what even informed my trip to France last month. I was invited by the Institute d'Afrique to the African Vision program where we had to show Nigerian films and
the Africa 2020.
Yeah, under the Africa 2020 stuff, But we showed Abba Makama's The Lost to Koroshi. But then I insisted, it was not in their program, I insisted on showing long 2 short films as well. And those 2, not mine.
Okay.
Another thing is that those of us who run the festival, it's an unwritten code. Whatever intervention we are seeking is never for ourselves first. Yeah, so I don't think there's anything we've done that we focus on ourselves. And even if a filmmaker who's volunteering with us submits the most exceptional film that deserves an award, he cannot be in a competitive category because he's part of the team. So all those principles are things that were spelled out since 2016. Get on chances. So we showed these 2 short films in France made by 2 first-time filmmakers. Wow. You understand? The goal is to expose them and all that. Because I won't lie to you, when I think about this thing, apart from, we're doing something, I'm thinking that in another 10, 15 years time,
which is my last question,
these are the people who should be running the industry. And if they've gotten the right introduction to not just training, but best practices and how to bring out their humanity in dealing with other people, they will have a saner climb to operate. You get what I'm trying to say? So
but the question I wanted to put to you, that RTF without Charles, is it possible?
Without Stanley?
Without Stanley, why am I calling you Charles?
I've been desperately trying not to be involved in the festival since the last 3 years, because the goal was that after 3 editions, I'm just going to pull out and observe the guys who got on board, run the festival.
Cross your leg.
Yes, but COVID now came, made that impossible because I had to now be involved in the virtual edition. And then this year, COVID has not subsided completely. So this whole hybrid stuff, it would be too hard to put on someone who doesn't have that level of experience, or interpersonal skills.
But that's why I was asking
what
about
I'm
your
trying-
team.
yeah.
Because
Yeah, exactly. So
they are,
they are
everything is in your head. So how do you now translate this to
no, everything is not in my head. Everything is documented.
documented?
And we've even
I mean,
shared...
everything's on your shoulder. Maybe
okay,
not
yeah, maybe
head.
on my shoulder.
So
no, everything is not still
there,
on my shoulder still. And I'm being very honest.
But I don't know if you get my point.
I get your point,
yeah.
but let me
because there's so much that you're carrying in your
yes,
head.
let me break it down. Let me break it down.
Yeah.
So we have a very clear documentation, which we even shared. We had a session with the British Council last year, and everything we've been doing since 2016, including how we successfully executed the 2020 virtual edition. We made a PDF document and gave it to everybody for free.
Okay.
Like, if you want to know how we've been operating, and if you want to know the things to do 1 year before your festival, 6 months before the festival, 2 months, 1 month, 2 weeks to the festival, when is the most effective time to start making your noise on social media, all those little things. So we created a manual and we put it out there for free. And then in the same session, we announced that we're going to support any two festivals who reached out to us first to have a virtual edition. And then the Eastern Nigerian Film Festival and Lifanima came along. And last year, apart from having our own festival, those were the only 2 other festivals that happened. And they were executed by us because we had the infrastructure in place and we're not going to use it for anything. So we just took their stuff, plugged it in, and their job was just to tweet that our festival is on and we ran the show.
Okay. Well, Stanley Ohikware, I wish we could continue to go on and on and on, but we lost quite a lot of time at the beginning. And I'm happy to say that we will get the permission of the executive producer to bring you back. On that time, we'll be dealing with specific project that you are. We will have watched your film so we can decode your film. And I hope Dr. Adeyemi and the rest who are on there will be able to join.
Yes, it will be interesting to have Stanley back as the evangelist of Afrofuturism.
No, the constructor of Afrofuturism.
The constructor, yeah.
Maybe we bring 1 or 2 more people who are into the Afrofuturism movement.
Actually, I would love to stand face to face with someone who is an Afrofuturism evangelist.
Okay.
And let the person tell me whether he or she understands what he or she is preaching.
I think that many of them, when I read some of those write-ups, I have a feeling that maybe it's still an idea they're trying to develop.
Because it's evolving. As they are going along, they're evolving it. So
someone has shown his face. I think he's an Afrofuturist. Are you?
So I'll be willing to take on you any day, anytime. We come and defend your Afrofuturism.
His poetry is more culturally grounded. You need to read Samuel's poems based on his culture. Anyway, we'll be back here. That's what I can say. Well, we've been culture trained, and we've been on Spirit of Nigeria Radio, where we bring the Nigerians and African diaspora up to speed. And our guests have been Stanley Ohikware, who is a fine artist, a movie maker, a storyteller, an experimentalist, and an evangelist of Afrofuturism deconstruction. But more importantly,
AFD. So I'm the AFD. I'm a deconstructor.
And then he's an evangelist of light and shade. As I've told you, please Google his name. You need to see Stanley's film. And I'm not saying this like I've been so impressed with the work, even his short films, his long films. I'm always wondering how he goes about this work. Thank you very much, everybody who has been listening on the other end.
Thank you.
And those who are able to join us on Zoom. We're sorry we sent out the Zoom link late, but a lot of people were calling that they were already waiting for us as at 6 when we couldn't start. Let me say a special thank you to Dio for taking the risk, because the area where he lives is where this conflagration could happen anytime. You have to get on bike just to get to the studio. Thank you very much, Dio. Thank you so much for
Dio D1.
Dio D1. Well, culture train is riding off now, and then we'll be back next week, Saturday. I hope they won't have another election on that day. They should let us have our life. Please stop shutting down the economy because we want to do election. Abba.
Except they are sharing money to
us. But they will not share the money. We don't even know who is contesting. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you again.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.